Сегодня первое заседание рабочей группы по координации и развитию МТК Север-Юг в этом году.
I apologize if I missed anyone on board here to the meeting. So I'm happy to welcome you at the first in this year meeting of the working group on INSTC coordination and development.
К сожалению, карантинные ограничения, связанные с эпидемией коронавируса, не позволили нам собраться раньше.
Unfortunately, COVID-related quarantine restrictions did not allow us to gather earlier.
Благодарю вас за уделенное время и постараюсь быть кратким.
Thank you for your time, and I try to be brief.
В сентябре прошлого года мы договорились объединить усилия особых зон портов логистических компаний для старта перевозок.
Last year in September, we agreed to combine the efforts of special economic zones, ports and logistic companies to start transportation via the INSTC.
Наша рабочая группа является профессиональным сообществом, которое должно выработать практические предложения для госорганов, чтобы коридор заработал.
Our working group is a professional community which should develop practical proposals for government bodies in order for the corridor could work.
И я рад, что сегодня мы примем состав новых участников.
And I'm glad that today we will accept new members.
Позвольте проинформировать о ситуации по развитию коридора в Российской Федерации.
Let me inform you about the development of INSTC project in Russia.
В соответствии с поручением президента России завершается подготовка создания портовой особой экономической зоны в Астраханской области.
In accordance with the instructions of the Russian president, preparations are underway to create a port special economic zone in the Astrakhan region.
Рассчитываем, что до осени она будет официально утверждена.
We hope that it will be officially established by this autumn.
Это позволит предоставить налоговые и таможенные льготы инвесторам, которые будут в ней работать.
This will provide tax and customs benefits to investors who will work in it.
Портовая особая экономическая зона будет объединена в единый кластер с существующей особой зоной промышленного типа LOTUS в Каспийский кластер.
The port special economic zone will be merged into a single cluster with the existing industrial special economic zone LOTUS, Caspian cluster.
Главным проектом портовой особой экономической зоны станет строительство современного порта для обработки контейнерных и других грузов.
The main project of the port special economic zone will be the construction of a modern port for handling container and other cargoes.
Основным инвестором является компания ПЛК «Каспий», ее владелец господин Савченко, известный в России бизнесмен.
The main investor is the Caspy PLC company and its owner, Mr. Oleg Savchenko, who is a well-known businessman in Russia.
Он разработал проект планировки всей территории. Сейчас идет геологические изыскания в районе бухты будущего порта.
He has developed a project plan for the entire territory and is currently conducting a geological surveys in the bay area of the future port.
Господин Савченко также стал инициатором исследования грузопотоков в Каспийском регионе.
Mr. Savchenko also initiated the study of cargo flows in the Caspian region,
который произвела авторитетная компания Hamburg Port Consulting.
Which was conducted by the reputable company Hamburg Port Consulting.
Она оценила потенциальный грузооборот порта в 19 миллионов тонн к 2050 году.
It estimated the port's potential cargo turnover at 19 million tons by 2050.
Представители компании расскажут чуть позже об этом сами.
The representatives of the company will talk about this later themselves.
ПЛК «Каспий» также консультируется по развитию порта с представительством Национальной ассоциации логистов Германии.
Caspy PLC company also consults on the development of the port with the Russian office of the National Logistics Association of Germany, BVL.
Важным направлением развития МТК «Север-Юг» является формирование грузовой базы и снятие административных барьеров.
An important direction in the development of the North-South transport corridor is the formation of a cargo base and the removal of administrative barriers.
Вместе с международной логистической компанией Murphy Group United Kingdom Limited при содействии наших коллег из Ирана мы провели тестовые перевозки 40-футовых контейнеров из Дубая в Европу через порты Энзели и Астрахань.
Together with the international logistics company Murphy Group Holdings UK Limited, with the assistance of our colleagues from Iran, we conducted test shipments of 40 food containers from Dubai to Europe through the ports of Anzali and Astrakhan.
Надеемся, что при поддержке представителей рабочей группы в Индии мы сможем организовать перевозку из индийских портов.
We hope that with the support of the representatives of the working group in India, we will be able to arrange transportation from Indian ports.
Одной из причин увеличения транзитного времени и стоимости перевозки, которую мы выявили, является отсутствие постоянной контейнерной линии между портами Астрахани и Ирана.
One of the reasons for the increase in transit time and the cost of transportation that we identified is the lack of a permanent container line between the ports of Astrakhan and Iran.
Вместе с компаниями ARC и Keystone Logistics мы занялись формированием такой линии.
Together with the companies ARC Shipping and Keystone Logistics, we started the formation of such line.
Подобрано судно, которое готово выйти в рейс осенью этого года.
A ship that is ready to go on a voyage this autumn is selected.
Оно также может осуществлять перевозку между Астраханью, Туркменией и Казахстаном.
It can also transport cargoes between Astrakhan, Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan.
В этой работе нам очень важна поддержка коллег из портов Гамбурга, Ростока.
In this work, we consider important the support of colleagues from the ports of Hamburg, Rostock,
Санкт-Петербурга, порт Бронка, Ирана, Казахстана, Туркмении и Индии.
St. Petersburg, the port of Bronca, Iran, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan and India.
Нужна поддержка как консультационная, так и в формировании грузов для этой линии.
Both in consulting and information of cargoes for this line.
Мы постараемся в короткое время представить вам тарифы, чтобы можно было информировать грузоотправителей.
We will try to provide you with tariffs in a short time in order the shippers could be informed.
Нам также нужны ответственные представители в портах и площадки для работы с контейнерами.
We also need responsible representatives in ports and platforms for working with containers.
Организация тестовых перевозок контейнеров по коридору является основным элементом комплекса мер по развитию транзитного потенциала коридора Север-Юг.
The organization of test container transportations via the INSTC is the main element of the set of measures for the development of the transit potential of the INSTC.
Такой комплекс мер утвержден первым заместителем председателя правительства России.
This set of measures was approved by the first Deputy Prime Minister of the Russian Federation.
Это основной документ, на который мы опираемся при развитии коридора.
This is the main document that we rely on when developing the corridor.
Спасибо большое за внимание.
Thank you for your attention.
Предлагаю собираться почаще, не реже одного раза в квартал. Не реже одного раза в квартал.
I suggest that we get more often, at least once in 3 months.
Чтобы мы могли обмениваться мнениями, вырабатывать предложения и на каждом новом этапе совместными усилиями развивать перевозки по коридору.
So that we can exchange opinions, develop proposals, and at each new stage jointly develop transportations along the corridor.
Передаю слово министру промышленности и природных ресурсов Астраханской области Денису Александровичу Афанасьеву.
I pass the floor to the Minister of Industry and Natural Resources of the Astrakhan region, Mr. Denis Afanasiev.
Пожалуйста, Денис Александрович.
Thank you, Mr. Milushkin. Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, I'm very glad to see everybody here and to present in this meeting. This is our second meeting after that first one that we had in New Delhi last year. And I hope that our meeting is going to be regular, as Mr. Milushkin mentioned already. I would like just to add some words to his greeting words that he said already. You, everybody, know that Russian Federation, and in particular Astrakhan region, is very interested in developing of international transport corridor north-south, and we're doing a lot to develop it and to stimulate the cargo flows along this route. As Mr. Milushkin mentioned, there is a set of measures that was adopted by the Russian Federation government this year, and we're very proud and happy that most of the suggestions of our region were included in this set of measures and adopted on the Russian Federation government level. More than that, we are doing together with Mr. Milushkin a great job, to my mind, Mr. Milushkin and Mr. Savchenko, a lot to establish a special port economic zone here in Astrakhan region to stimulate the cargo flows based on the certain tax exemptions and benefits that will be given to the cargo owners that will send the cargo along this route. To our mind, there are certain difficulties that all of us realize, and we meet them when we dwell on the development of this cargo flow and this corridor. But we're the community of professionals, and we realize that there are certain steps that we should undertake together in order to promote this route on the intergovernmental level. And I'm happy that all the professionals, all the colleagues from all the countries that are interested in development of this north-south corridor are here together and dwelling on promoting this route. As for Astrakhan, Astrakhan regional government, we are applying all our efforts to stimulate the route. To our mind, we've done a lot by the time, but I realize that there are certain difficulties that we can face in the future, and I would like to thank once more Mr. Milushkin and Mr. Savchenko for their great efforts to establish port economic zone. We badly need this in Astrakhan region, this special economic zone. And we realized that only establishing this zone here in Astrakhan will stimulate the cargo flow along this route. And I would like to, once again, I would like to greet all the participants from all the countries that have joined today's meeting. And I wish that our meetings would be more often and regular. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Thank you very much, Mr. Afanasiev. Next speaker, Frank Bousset. Please, Frank.
Thanks for having this opportunity to give you a short overview of our pre-feasibility study that we have conducted in February to April in Astrakhan, and we had a good on-site visit there in Astrakhan and worked on the potential for this port. I assume we do not need the Russian translation?
No.
Okay, great. Then Mr. Milushkin already mentioned a couple of figures, and I just want to show you what we have identified. And of course, you are all aware of the location of Astrakhan and the major impact of these north-south transport corridor, which is vital for Astrakhan and which is also an opportunity for Astrakhan. So, and to be a hub and to supply the region, which we talked to all the way down to India, but we also have good opportunities to go more in eastern direction. I want to draw your mind or your view on our figures here. We have made some, you see on the right, the table with the figures, and it's just about saying here at the end of the projection period we have a base case and we have a high case, and the base case, as you know, is a more conservative, and the high case is really taking a lot of opportunities into account, and we are around 200 and 450,000 containers annually. That is the potential that we have investigated and identified for this location. And beside container, also other commodities are very important, like the project cargo you see here, wood, steel, all the some of the commodities that are already handled here. Okay. that wasn't for me. So and we have the offshore supply, vegetable oil, all commodities and all potential cargo transported via Astrakhan or Port Caspian, which is the basis for all other investigations. We are all aware of this special economic zone. I just brought this map here with me to show. There we have in the figure shown here, we have in the red dotted line, we have the port area, and where we have the port development later, and we have the white dotted area here where we have the opportunity to start operations very fast. So Mr. Milushkin talked about the start of the special economic zone, which is also vital for the port project, which is delivering and generating cargo for the port area as an origin and as a destination. And it's very important that port-related companies will be located there. So with this, in this white dotted area, we have already 2 berths established, which has to be a little bit refitted, but it is a huge and a great opportunity to start operations in very short time. So we don't have, and the special economic zone and the port operations does not have to wait the next 2 or 3 years to start, but they can start. And we have been down there during our on-site vision, and this is just to give you who have never been there an impression. This is on the left side. This is the existing quay wall, and you see there has to be done some work on the apron, but infrastructure is already there. And we already thought about what to do here, and we are planning to handle containers here, and we are planning to have general cargo here, and to start and to continue the cargo flow. As we have heard, there are already cargoes flowing. There are pilot transport, test transports, and which are working very well. And so it is important to keep up the flow of the cargo so that everybody will be aware and is aware of this new location. And you see also in the picture on the right down, there is also a huge interest of public saying, okay, what's going on in Astrakhan? And we heard in the prior speech how important it is and how supported this project is in the region. And then having these opportunities, we have these port development project where we really develop a huge port which can handle containers, which can handle bulk cargo, dry bulk like grain, and which can handle general cargo, which still is a very important commodity. And you see, we are suggesting to develop this port in certain steps and in certain phases. And also by developing these port areas, so we have a certain area of container down there, which is here in purple. We have this yellow area with us, which is for bulk, and we have these red area, which is for general cargo. And you see in further steps that also the port basin is growing. So everything is scalable. If there's more cargo than projected, we can even scale up the phases, and which is a very good opportunity. And as you see, there is area left to expand. There has to be a rail connections, as you see. And if I click further the slides, you see that all the different areas are growing. The port basin is growing. You see this access channel close to the Volga River, and you see this interesting idea of these grain jetty. So we are not really utilizing a lot of berth capacity at the quayside, but we are working with a jetty solution here so that we can even save space for other vessels and quay walls here. In a third step, general cargo is growing, bulk is growing, bulk gets more rail connection capacity, container is growing. And when you see these this pattern here, this cross, this blue marked area here, this is always for the high case. So when the high case is on the screen, we show here that we have the capacity in the port basin and on the land side. And last but not least, the final phase, we will have a little bit more than 40 hectares of cargo and handling area in the port of Caspian. This is to give you all an overview what we have done and what we have figured out, and HPC is really happy to support this project, and is really happy to continue supporting this project. And if there are any questions, please ask. If there are some later, do not hesitate to contact me. Thanks a lot for having this opportunity.
Colleagues, окей. Спасибо большое, господин Буссе. Я хотел бы добавить буквально 2 слова.
Thank you very much, Mr. Busse. I would like to add a couple of comments.
Предлагаю в дальнейшем нам всем вместе подумать об увеличении перевозок контейнерами.
I suggest that we think about how we can grow and increase container shipments.
В том числе возможность перевозки, например, зерна из России в Иран.
Including shipments, for example, as an example of grain from Russia to Iran.
Что может позволить, во-первых, уменьшить стоимость перевозки.
Which can allow us, first of all, to make the shipments a bit cheaper.
Сделать партии более мелкими и удобными для продажи.
And then have a smaller batches, which is more convenient to transport and sell.
И самое главное, разгружать это зерно в любых погодных условиях, не завися, так сказать, от дождей и других проблем, которые иногда возникают в портах.
And also this could allow us to have this grain unloaded under any weather conditions. So not having a dependency on a weather like rain or other.
Следующее слово предлагаю господину Гернту Тешу, управляющему директору порта Росток.
So the next speaker is Mr. Gernot Tesch, Managing Director of Port Rostock.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Hello?
Ja, wir hören Sie.
Okay, that's a German answer. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm referring to good morning still, as in Germany the time is still before 11 o'clock. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Gernot Tesch. I'm one of the managing directors of Rostock Port, and I have prepared a few sentences for the next 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present our current experiences with a similar project, which potentially could be copied to the Caspian Sea later on too. So Russia has always been in the focus of Rostock Port. However, as you can understand, always with a special focus on Russia's Baltic seaports, of course. So we are especially importing huge amounts of dry and liquid bulk cargo for our local shippers and for our local industry. However, during the recent years, a completely new and rather land-based alternative appeared as a completely new business opportunity for our port. And I'm talking about the participation at the Chinese Road and Belt Initiative. However, using Russia not only as a transit country, but connecting a Russian Baltic seaport on the one hand and Rostock on the other hand by a sea-based high-frequent container shuttle service. And by doing so, reducing the transit time between China and Germany considerably. And at the same time offering a new transport alternative between Russia itself and Central Europe. So the main reason for the acceleration is very simple. By using a vessel between Kaliningrad and Rostock, you can avoid border crossings, especially between Belarus and Poland. And by doing so, you avoid the capacity constraints when using the highly utilized Polish railway infrastructure. So today, the transit time between the Chinese city of Xi'an and German Rostock is reduced to 11 days only. And this means this is one of the, if not the fastest connection between China and Germany today. And from Rostock, the German industrial and logistical hotspots like Hamburg and Duisburg can be reached within a few hours only. And this achievement is the result of, let's say, 2 to 4 years intensive preparation. And this Baltic Sea-based project can easily become a template for a Caspian Sea-based project, as Astrakhan is geographically well located and connected with very promising countries like Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, but especially, of course, Iran, and last but not least, India at the horizon. So if we have altogether a look at the map, we can easily discover the great potential of these new sea-based connections via the Caspian Sea. But also that we shouldn't forget that the Baltic and the Caspian Sea are actually well connected via the Russian inland waterway systems already today. I'm meaning, I refer to the river Neva, the channel, the canal between the Neva and the Volga, and down to Astrakhan. So industrial components produced in Central Europe, like harbor cranes, wind turbine components, and pipes produced in Rostock or elsewhere in Germany, can and have been shipped already between Rostock and the Caspian Sea. And from my point of view, this should be a huge potential for Astrakhan and the region. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have only prepared something for 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and looking forward for a very fruitful cooperation in future. Nevertheless, I'm ready to answer any kind of question now or later.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Yes, I want to add it. Yesterday, Mr. Tesh agreed to join the working group in the future. I think that's right, Mr. Tesh. So
yes, I can confirm.
That will be great.
I'm sticking to my words, as always.
It's very fine. So welcome.
Thank you very much. Так, я буквально хотел еще раз отметить важность того, о чем сказал господин Тэш, это новое направление в развитии грузопотоков.
So I would like to underscore and emphasize the importance, as Mr. Tesh has mentioned, of this emerging new hub and new direction for the traffic flows.
И мы, конечно, рассчитываем на грузы, которые будут идти из порта Ростока, и это в первую очередь генеральные грузы и проектные грузы.
That could be shipped from Rostock port, so primarily general cargoes and project cargoes.
Следующее слово предоставляю господину Инго Эглофу, генеральному директору Port of Hamburg Marketing.
So the next speaker is Mr. Ingo Egloff, General Director of Port of the Hamburg Marketing.
Please.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you understand me. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, everything okay?
Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of your conference here. I would like to say some words about our organization. The Port of Hamburg Marketing is an association with 300 member companies of the port, terminal, and logistic industries, and we are a worldwide operating network organization. So we also have an office in our sister town, St. Petersburg, for a long time. And the port of Hamburg is number 3 and number 8 in the world. And our throughput in the last year was 136.6 million tons and 9.3 million TEU in the container business. And what's very important is Russia is number 1 of our European partners and number 1 in the Baltic Sea region for us. And last year we had a throughput of more than 400,000 TEU with Russia. And the container business with Russia increased the last year about 50. And if you see the situation now, the corona pandemic, you can constitute that in the first quarter 2020, the connections with Russia are stable. And our most important partner in Russia is the port of St. Petersburg, the ports of St. Petersburg, the port in the old city, and also the port of Bronka. And furthermore, we also have still growing connections with Kaliningrad. The throughput with Kaliningrad rose the last year of about 140%. St. Petersburg, we have a throughput of 320,000 TEU, and with Kaliningrad, 51,000 TEU. And we think that it is an interesting idea to build this container terminal in Astrakhan and to install a railway line from this point to Moscow and to the ports of St. Petersburg. And from St. Petersburg, it's possible to use different liner services to Hamburg. And from Hamburg, you have a lot of opportunities to transport your goods by ship or by railway. We have more than 100 liner connections to all ports of the world, and Hamburg is the best connected railway port of Europe. And we have 1,300 railway connections per week to all destinations in Germany and Europe. And if you prefer to transport your goods only by rail, you also can reach Hamburg in a real short. We are just now one of the European hotspots for the trains connecting China with Europe. And we have about 40 connections per week by train from China and to China. So it must be possible to connect other parts of Asia via Astrakhan and Russia with the European market as it's planned here. And we hope that Hamburg are able to play a role in this. And because we are interested in thinking in long-distance logistic chains, and therefore this is a very interesting project. And so we are glad that the Hamburg company HPC, also a member of our network, presented today the feasibility study. And let me say at the end of my speech, if it can help you or give you some advice, our doors are always open for you, as you know. We talked about this several times, and the best way for Europe is working with any partner of the same projects. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Мы благодарны и порту Росток, и мы благодарны порту Гамбург.
So we are thankful to Port of Hamburg.
Мы вот уже больше года, занимаясь реализацией проекта, всегда отмечаем поддержку наших немецких коллег.
So for over a year that we've been in this project, so we've experienced a great support from our German colleagues.
И еще раз подчеркиваю, сейчас вот стартуя в нашем проекте, то есть получив документы, мы начинаем строительство зоны и порта.
And by launching, so now formally, after we receive all the approval and documents for launching the construction of the port and the special economic zone.
Мы крайне заинтересованы в совместных усилиях всех сегодня присутствующих.
So we are extremely interested in joining efforts with everybody who participated in the meeting today.
В наполнении грузами этого коридора.
By ensuring and providing some cargo volumes and cargo flows in order to make this corridor work.
Еще раз благодарю за выступление.
So thank you very much for your speech.
И предлагаю следующему выступающему, господину Розбахану, председателя Совета директоров, генеральному директору свободной экономической зоны НЗЛИ.
And the next speaker is Mr. Mohammad Khalil Uzbahan, who is the chairman of the board of directors and the general director of the special port zone NZLE.
به نام خدا، همکاران گرامی، بسیار خوشحالم از اینکه دوستان ما در فدراسیون روسیه مطابق اهداف سند 8 نوامبر 2017 امروز این ویدیو کنفرانس مهم تسهیل کننده لوجستیکی را با حضور همکاران حاضر تشکیل دادند.
And hello ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. I am very pleased that our friend in Russia, in accordance with objective of the strategic plan number 2569, November 8, 2017, of Russia government today formed this important video conference in order to facilitate logistic program with participation on present colleagues.
همکاران گرامی، خانم‌ها و آقایان.
Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen.
قبل از هر چیز باید به اطلاع برسانم دولت جمهوری اسلامی ایران نیز سند توسعه پیوندهای اقتصادی و تجاری و لوجستیکی را مصوب نموده است.
First of all, I would like to inform you that the government of Islamic Republic of Iran has also plans for development, economic, trade and logistic ties.
ما نیز با تمام تلاش خود با استفاده از این سند راهبردی اقتصادی آماده اقدامات تسهیل کننده در امور تجارت و لوجستیکی با کشورهای همسایه هستیم.
We are ready to use these strategic economic plans to facilitate trade logistic programs with our neighboring countries.
در جریان اهداف تعیین شده مشترک مناطق آزاد انزلی و لوتوس آستراخان و همکاران ما در چابهار جهت توسعه زیرساخت‌های لوجستیکی تا امروز منطقه آزاد انزلی اقدامات زیر را انجام داده است.
According to common goals of the Anzali Free Zone, LOTUS of Astrakhan and Chairperson Free Zone to develop logistic infrastructure, Anzali Free Zone has taken following actions and steps.
بخش بندری
Port sections.
ایجاد اولین بندر عمیق ایران در بندر کاسپیان با آبخور 6 تا 9 متر.
Establishment of the first deep port in Iran with 6 to 9 draft in Caspian Sea called Caspian Port Complex.
ایجاد ظرفیت انبار غلات 150,000 تنی.
Creating a grain storage silo with capacity of 150,000 tons.
انبار خشک با ظرفیت 100,000 تن.
Dry warehouse with 100,000 tons capacity.
مخازن روغن با ظرفیت 120,000 تن.
Creating edible oil tanks with capacity of 120,000 tons.
انبار روباز با ظرفیت با مساحت 40 هکتار.
Construction an uncovered warehouse with 40 acres.
راه اندازی خط کانتینرهای یخچالی.
Launching of line of the refrigerator containers.
آغاز ساخت اسکله رورو با ماهیت کامیونی و ریلی.
Started to construction of the Roro burst for tracks and wagons.
برنامه ساخت اولین اسکله سرپوشیده.
Construction for plans for construction of the all-weather berths.
بخش ریلی.
In the rail section.
اجرای عملیات ساختمانی خط ریلی بندر کاسپیان منطقه آزاد به شبکه اصلی که در آگوست 2021 به بهره برداری خواهد رسید.
The construction of Caspian Port railway line that will be connected to the national railway, which will be put into operation in August 2021.
لازم به ذکر است همکنون امکان حمل ترکیبی به اولین ایستگاه ریلی با فاصله 15 کیلومتر امکان پذیر است.
It should be mentioned that at the moment it is possible combined transportation through Caspian Port carried by track to the first railway station with 15 kilometers distance.
کسب موافقت راهن جمهوری اسلامی جهت اعطای تخفیف ویژه حمل کالا و کانتینر از مسیر دریایی کاسپین به مرادر جنوبی ایران تا سقف 20 الی 50%.
We came to agreement with Railway Organization of Iran to grant a special discount or off for transportation of goods and container from the Caspian Sea to southern part of the Iran up to 20 or 50%.
البته میزان تخفیف بستگی به اقدام متقابل کشورهای بهره بردار دارد.
Of course, the amount of the discount depends on the mutual action of the other country in this corridor.
ضمناً در بندر کاسپین نیز آماده اعطای تسهیلات کاهش تعرفه‌های بندری برای انواع کالاها و THC هستیم.
Caspian Port Complex are also ready to reduce port tariffs for variety of the goods and THC.
در جریان پیگیری‌های مشترک با هدف نوسازی ناوگان دریایی، کشتیرانی خزر با استفاده از اعتبار لیزینگ سفارش ساخت 2 فروند شناور را در کشتی سازی لوتوس آستراخان در دست اقدام دارد.
In order to modernize Navy forces, Khazar Shipping Company, by using leasing credit, has ordered construction of 2 ships. These ships are under construction at LOTUS of the Astrakhan at the moment.
پیشنهادات:
Suggestions.
در منطقه آزاد انزلی امکان واگذاری انبار کالاهای خشک، غلات و روباز به همکاران لوجستیکی کشورهای همسایه و حاضر در این گفتگو وجود دارد.
Anzali Free Zone is ready to hand over warehouse of dry goods and grain and also uncovered warehouse to the logistic partner or businessmen of the neighboring countries and the people who are present in this video conference.
آماده گفتگو برای طراحی یک پیشنهاد مشترک کاهش تعرفه در مسیر کریدور شمال جنوب با همکاران حاضر از نمایندگان کشورهای حاضر در ویدیو کنفرانس هستیم.
We are ready also to discuss about the reducing of tariff on the north-south corridor with the country who are involved in these corridors.
با مذاکرات انجام شده با عالی‌ترین مقامات سازمان بنادر و سازمان راهن جمهوری اسلامی ایران اعلام می‌کنم از سوی مقامات عالی کشور ما موافقت اولیه وجود دارد.
And also we negotiated with top official of the Ports and Railways Organization of Iran. Here I declare that there is a preliminary agreement from all high-ranking officials that reduction of tariff depend on mutual action and behavior of other countries in these corridors.
و میزان موفقیت در این بخش بستگی به اقدام و رفتار متقابل دارد.
And reduction of the tariff depend on mutual action and behavior of other countries.
ما با همکاری و همکاران ما در کشور قزاقستان خط لاینری کشتی بین منطقه آزاد انزلی و بندر آکتائو ایجاد کردیم.
In cooperation with our partner in Kazakhstan, we have established a shipping line between the Anzali Free Zones and port of the Aktau.
و پیشنهاد می‌کنیم خط لاینری بین منطقه آزاد انزلی با بنادر روسیه، آذربایجان و ترکمنستان را مورد مذاکره و بررسی قرار دهیم.
And we suggested that we are ready to discuss about shipping line between Anzali Free Zone, Russia, Azerbaijan and Turkmenistan ports.
امیدوارم جلسه آرتوار امروز آغاز تحقق اهداف راهبردی اقتصادی و لوجستیکی متقابل باشد.
I hope that today's video conference resulted to mutual economic and logistic strategic goals.
و آماده برگزاری اولین جلسه با حضور همکاران گرامی به میزبانی منطقه آزاد انزلی هستیم.
And Anzali Free Zone is ready to be housed for holding the first face-to-face summit with attendance and presence of the Nostra Corridor officials.
اولین.
The first.
متشکرم از توجه شما.
Thank you for your attention.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much.
Афанасьев, вопрос задать?
Да, конечно, пожалуйста, вопросы.
Да. Cenab-ı Agay Rozbakan, Rozbekheir, Agay Afanasiev, Astrakhan, ilk sual daram, icazet befarmayın bedekit.
سلام آقای میلوشکین.
بله بله سلام
شما خوبه؟
یک سوالی درباره اون دو تا کشتی که شما گفتید که شما یعنی شرکت دریای خزر میل داره بسازن در کشتی سازی استراخان به نام لوتوس.
گفت کشتی. بله مذاکراتی که گفتید مقدماتش انجام شده و مدیران شرکت کشتیرانی خزر اقدامات اولیه رو انجام دادن، شرکت خزرشیپ.
میفهمم بله. ولی من
منتظر هستیم مرزها باز بشه تا اقدامات انجام بگیره.
بله بله. میل دارن که اون دو تا کشتی بسازن.
به محض اینکه مرزها باز بشه کارها انجام خواهد شد.
خب به نظر شما اون دو تا کشتی باید تا سال آینده بسازه باشه یکی؟
قاعدتاً باید 15 ماهه ساخته بشه.
15 ماهه بله.
بله بله. البته با توجه به گسترش تعاملات و ارتباطات بین ایران و روسیه و کشورهای دیگه این ظرفی و کشورهای اوراسیا این آمادگی وجود داره که در صورت بیشتر شدن حجم بار بتونیم تعداد این کشتی‌های سفارش شده رو بیشتر کنیم.
متشکرم جناب آقای Rozbakan. Excuse me, we just exchange some views about Mr. Rozbakan about two vessels that he mentioned in his speech that company, Iranian company is going to build at the Astrakhan shipbuilding yard. Excuse me.
خواهش میکنم.
Спасибо большое. Как видите, коллеги владеют всеми языками.
So thank you very much. So as you can see, some participants are multilingual here.
Что говорит о том, что мы все понимаем, о чем идет речь.
So we can understand what everyone is talking about. So we're on the same page.
Да, и уверен, что у нас все получится.
So this is a good sign. So I'm sure that we'll succeed in the project.
Следующее слово я предоставляю председателю Совета директоров, генеральному директору свободной зоны Чебахар Абдалрахиму Карди.
So the next speaker is the chairman of the board of directors and the general director of the special port zone Chabahar, Mr. Abdulrahim Kardi.
Mr. Kardi.
Yeah, hello everybody. Thank you, Mr. Milushkin, for your, coordinates of this conference. I'm really glad to be here and hearing new idea and issues regarding the, activation of this new corridor, which is very important, and yeah, for sure, it will change the game in the region. The main, strategical points that Mr. Rozbakan has mentioned in the conference, and of course the view of the Iranian government. But the main thing that I would like to, add to him, and also the idea which we are thinking about it, I would like to, add some words here. First of all, as all of you know, the issue that we are facing right now is just, the issue of operating this corridor. All of us know that from Mumbai to Chabahar to Anzali to Astrakhan and to Hamburg is in case of cost and I mean time is much feasible than the way today I mean using in the I mean how can I say the Suez Channel, which is using right now. But the main thing is we have to start this way, and for the start of this way or this corridor, we need to give some subsidize this I mean cost which has to be charged in this way, including the tariffs, including the I mean THC, including the warehouse costs and whatever I mean cost we have in this way, up to time that this corridor find his economic scale, and the number of cargo has to be reached to the point that all of I mean the number of cargoes has to be that much that economically it has to be feasible. So I have I mean some suggestion that I would like to share with you here. We give the I mean the suggestion. I would like to just let me share my screen with you. This is the suggestion that we have. We need a joint committee, which already you discussed about it, to I mean make operative this way. So the issue, because for just saving the time, I'm not reading all of this. I would share it with all of you. You can have it, and even you can give your comments and share it through Mr. Milushkin. All members can give it. Our suggestion is just start with a committee. This committee can take care of different issues, the I mean cost and I mean procedures in case of time and in case of cost. We can have some other I mean working groups in this committee, and they can I mean make it operative. This is very important. We have to care about it, and yeah, I will share these pages to all of you, and you can have it. And if you have comments and to complete this or share it again, we can use it. One more thing I would like to add regarding the Chabahar. Yeah, according to the I mean approval of Parliament of Iran last year, we got the approval of I mean new area for free zone. Of course, the yellow I mean part I'm showing is the previous I mean territories of for Chabahar free zone, which now it is the new area. It is 5 times more than what we have already, and we included the Chabahar port, Shahid Beheshti and Shahid Kalantari port, which is right now in authority of Chabahar free zone. They are working. Of course, we I mean prepared a good area for hinterland, for logistic parks, warehouses, and container terminal, which we have enough plan I mean area in this zone for heavy industries and for other activities which is available right now. From last point I would like to mention is that for this I mean activation of this corridor, we as a Chabahar free zone ready to give I mean required infrastructure for the beginning, which include warehouses and port services for I mean giving subsidy to make it economical. We already discussed last year in India. We discussed these issues with Indian parties. They also, I think, as they are present in the I mean Shahid Beheshti port, they would be also I mean for them also it would be I mean some I mean incentive they also have. We can make it I mean operative from our side between Mundra, Kandla and Nawashiva ports and Chabahar ports, the line which is right now working and we have it active. So with giving the facilities and discounts for the cost, which port charges and even warehousing we are giving, we take our part of economical this zone. So just to conclude my points, my suggestion is, which I have shared with all of you, is to start with a joint committee, and beside of that we need a multinational company, including with at least some shares from different parties from India, Iran, and Russia. And today I hear that the Germans also included in this way. So all of us, we can make a joint company for make it operative this line. This is the only way that I think is work for make it operative. Thank you so much.
Everyone is interested in looking into more details into the suggestions that I have just articulated.
Рассчитываем на то, что мы их получим в ближайшее время.
So hopefully we will receive them shortly from you.
И сможем обсудить уже в двустороннем виде и в письменных обращениях.
So that we could start, communication and discussing it, with the
Да, и очень важно, да, и очень важно еще раз отметить, что все мы говорим о том, что нам необходимо создавать поток грузов по этому коридору.
And also I would like to reiterate that everyone here understands that it's important for us to start working on creating this cargo base, so cargo flows for the project.
Следующее выступление господин Шанкар Шинде, избранный председатель Федерации ассоциации экспедиторов Индии.
So the next speaker is Mr. Shankar Shinde, the elected chairman of Federation of Associations of Indian Shippers.
Thank you. First of all, thanks to the organizers, JSC Special Economic Zone LOTUS, for organizing this INSTC session, which is very important for India. I would like to first of all a very good afternoon to His Excellent Minister of Industry, Mr. Denis Afanasiev, and Mr. Sergey Milushkin. Wish you all the best and hope all are safe during this challenging period of COVID-19, and wish you all the happy and safe stay. Let me introduce our organization, FFAI, Federation of Freight Forwarders Association in India. We are the custom brokers and logistics service providers, over 6,500 members of our association. We handle around 98% of the international cargo movement from India. Going ahead, with regard to this session, INSTC and Astrakhan. It is very important to note that Astrakhan is a very important link for this maritime shipping and would play a very important role in distribution due to the geographical advantage. My dear friends, we did had a last meeting in New Delhi, which was held on 10th of July 2019, and FFAI did recommend some of the issues and to be related to development of INSTC. We did a first of its dry run study, which report was also submitted to the Russian government, to the government of Iran, and to the government of India on INSTC during 2014. We need to look into this related problem, but it was today very nice to hear that a lot of developments are taking place and the interest from various countries are taking place on this INSTC route. And this shows a big interest and scope for this development. My dear friends, India and Russia, we are surely looking into this development, but surely it should be a INSTC rather than the traditional route, which is going via St. Petersburg or Novorossiysk, because this is going to save us around 40% of the cost and around 40% of the transit time and 30% of the cost. India side is ready to deliver to the Astrakhan, but we should look for the agencies, the logistics service provider who can provide under the single document with all the responsibility, picking up the cargo from India and delivering up to the Russia destinations. The development of cargo transportation through INSTC, we recommend the following. We have to have a smooth operations of shipping lines between India and Iranian port. It may be Bandarabas or Chabahar. Chabahar is exempted from the sanction, so we can surely look forward for utilizing this Chabahar port. We need to work out the logistics on the territory of Iran, considering the lack of railway connectivity from Chabahar to Anzali. So if there is some development, we would surely look forward to have the utility of that connectivity. We need to have a IT platform. We also need to see, when we are talking about the one-way traffic, it is not possible in the containerized cargo, because we need to have a return cargo to make it feasible on this route. We should have representatives from each area appointed to make it a consortium with all the accountability and responsibility to carry the cargo on this route. We propose, when FFI proposes, that we can surely have one webinar with GSC, SEZ, and if any others would like to participate, to promote the logistics on this route. It is a good opportunity because Russia has a very geographical advantage, sharing the time zone from Europe to the Far East, and from India it is a very closest distance to avail from the Caspian Sea. We should start impaneling the forwarding companies from Russia side, from the Iranian side, and from the Indian side. There should be a consistency of the services on the Caspian Sea by the shipping lines or the ship operators. If we see, the Caspian Sea's location is having access to the 5 countries, which is Iran, Azerbaijan, Russia, Kazakhstan, and Turkmenistan. As such, when the SEZs are situated on such a geographical Caspian Sea borders, we will have a very important role to play of distribution. So all the SEZs whichever come on the Caspian Sea will surely take the advantage of it. To just show the seriousness of the India's in connectivity, Government of India has taken a very bold step with the accession to TIR Convention. So this will facilitate borderless single document movement across the borders and shows an interest of India and the seriousness of India in developing the route. The new development of Indian Railways, which is Concur, and the Russia side RZD Logistics, has played a very important role in further development, with a step ahead by signing a joint venture agreement to provide containers on this route and to provide the single window logistics services. So this has almost resolved around 60 to 70% of the issues from the Indian part. We hope that the same can be extended for the Chabahar and Astrakhan connectivity. FFI has already done a TIR movement from India to Afghanistan, which was a great success on Chabahar-Kabul route. Now it's a trade promotion is required from either side to support the movement. Further, the present ongoing international relationship, due to the COVID situation, there is a huge advantage for developing more trade and market in India and Russia, and we look forward for this alternate market. SEZ should provide support logistics for this movement. After this Astrakhan SEZ, we need to have a distribution center where they should come out with the tariffs as to which of this geographical region in Russia they will be able to serve, because Olia port is providing the connectivity to the Moscow. As such, where the Astrakhan is also connected with the railway to Moscow, and which other central Russia or the eastern Russia can be provided from the Astrakhan region. This would really help us in collaborating, and we should try to also impanel the shipping lines. No doubt, Qatar shipping also plays a very important role on the Caspian Sea, but they are unknown to the Indian sector or the logistic service providers in India. So we need to build confidence within these logistic service providers and also with the trade. So Russia has to market this very strongly with the importers, the receivers, to build the confidence. Yes, the cargo can come via the Caspian Sea, and while opening the LCs or orders, they should ensure that such type of clauses are included in the contracts to route cargo on the INSTC via the Caspian Sea. Thanks a lot. Thanks once again for all the organizers and all the participants for hearing me for some time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Это очень замечательное выступление, как и все остальные.
Thank you for a very good speech. Just like all the speeches and all the speakers that we've heard before.
Я бы хотел обратить внимание и еще раз подчеркнуть несколько позиций, которые обозначил господин Шинде.
I would like to draw the attention to several points that Mr. Shinde have mentioned in his speech.
Мы в прошлом году, встречаясь в Нью-Дели, обсуждали тоже эти вопросы.
So last year during our meeting in New Delhi, so we did have a discussion of these issues.
И я еще раз хочу подчеркнуть, что Российская Федерация сейчас, завершая подготовку создания зоны и начала строительства порта,
So I would like to reiterate that Russia is finalizing its preparatory work to construct the port facility and the special economic zone.
Приложит все усилия для того, чтобы обеспечить максимально комфортные условия перевозки грузов через территорию России.
So it will use its all and best endeavors in order to ensure the most comfortable and smooth shipments of cargoes through to be moved through Russia.
Есть поручение президента России о разработке механизмов субсидирования перевозки транзитных контейнеров.
So the Russian president has instructed to work on the subsidizing mechanism for the container shipments.
Есть задачи о увеличении транзита грузов через территорию России.
And he has also instructed to raise the cargo flows, which are to be, transshipped through Russia.
И мы вместе с Министерством транспорта, с новой компанией, которая занимается развитием коридоров на территории России,
And we, together with the Minister of Transportation and with the new company, which is involved in arranging the shipments along the Russian territory,
применяем большие усилия для того, чтобы в ближайшее время эти грузы пошли по коридору.
So we do a huge amount of work in order to ensure that these cargoes would start flowing along the corridor shortly.
Я предлагаю все те предложения, которые в том числе прозвучали в выступлении господина Шинде,
I suggest that all the suggestions and also those suggestions that Mr. Shinde has outlined in his speech
направлять нам в письменном виде.
Be forwarded to us.
Мы будем обобщать их и отправлять всем участникам рабочей группы.
We will try to summarize all of those suggestions and then circulate it among the participants of the working group.
Предлагаю такую форму. Есть проблема, например, отсутствия линии постоянной между портами Индии и Чебахаром.
So, for example, we identify a problem like, for example, lack of a transit line between Indian ports and Chabahar.
И какие пути решения данной проблемы видят коллеги из Индии, коллеги из Ирана?
Once we've identified problems, so that we could come up with all the participants could come up with ways to, solving this problem. So their approach to solving this problem.
Мы должны собрать весь коридор как кубики, чтобы он был понятен со всеми проблемами и возможными путями решения.
So it's like a puzzle that we need to work on in order for the corridor to start working.
И когда мы это сделаем, нам станет понятно, над чем мы должны поработать еще, чтобы коридор заработал в полную меру.
So once we do this job and identify all the potential problems and start looking for solutions, so this will show us, the areas where we need to focus most in order, for the project to succeed.
Я абсолютно уверен, что мы способны координировать усилия между собой.
So we are absolutely able to coordinate, efforts among the participants.
И я также уверен, что мы можем донести всю необходимую информацию до правительств наших стран для принятия решений.
And I'm confident that we will be able to relay and articulate all the necessary information to the governments of our countries in order for the proper decisions to be made.
И, как уже было сказано, мы, как Российская Федерация, как представители бизнеса, вернее, Российской Федерации, готовы координировать вместе со всеми с вами, коллеги, все усилия для того, чтобы коридор состоялся.
On the Russian side, so we are ready to coordinate with all of you jointly, all efforts in order to this project to materialize.
Предлагаю следующее выступление. Да, если есть вопросы, коллеги, можно задать.
So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Тогда слово предоставляется господину Алиеву, генеральному директору Murphy Group Holdings Limited.
So the next speaker is Mr. Tahir Nadirovich Aliyev, the General Director of Murphy Group Holdings.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to have everybody in this very important meeting, and thank you for inviting me to share some of our experience that we gained from working on the corridor since 2019. As already been told, we had conducted 2 test container movements from this time from United Arabian Emirates towards Northwest Russia, which is Belarus. We transit from Northwest Russia to Belarus. And the first container was conducted in November 2019, the second one in March 2020. During these shipments, several problems were uncovered, which practically well known in the corridor. But also we were able to come to some conclusion about the technical steps that should be taken towards further development of the corridor. I think we should start with the idea that although having said about shipment from UAE to Europe, we are keeping in mind the main cargo flow that should go from, of course, from India, with transit via Russia to Western and North Europe. That's the main aim of the corridor. The main problem that we stuck with is unscheduled shipping lines. We can't see for the time being. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is a lack of information that we're able to obtain, but we're not in a position of scheduled liner services working between Indian West Coast ports and Chabahar or Bandar Abbas. That is important to have the shipping lines, if there are any in existence, in our hands, in order to at least to start promoting these shipping lines as a way of delivering cargo via Iran from India. With United Arab Emirates, why we chosen this line, there's less a problem with shipping lines. They're scheduled shipping lines on daily basis working between Iran and Fujairah, and that's why it was easy for us to start the test container from that point. Coming to Chabahar or Bandar Abbas, we don't see any problem with cargo handling and container handling in these ports. Certainly Bandar Abbas is the most experienced port because it used to work for a long period over there. But again, having a very experienced team in Chabahar port and Chabahar free zone, we can definitely confirm that even if we have quite a range of influx of containers from India, Chabahar with the existing facilities can easily handle this. But as Mr. Cody showed in his presentation, we have quite an interesting hinterland that can be used for installation of special container yard of let's say about 11 hectares, where we can be dealing with the containers more professionally, easily, and steadily, and because there could be provided quite a huge range of operations that is needed for container handling. Another problem that we can see and which already been told about by our guest from Anzali, Mr. Ruzbahan, he already confirmed that this problem will be lifted in 2021, and that's a problem about connecting Chabahar and connecting Bandar Abbas to national railroad that could lead the cargo flow straight to port of Anzali or Amirabad. We're having a little bit of line that is under construction between Resht and Anzali, and I'm quite sure that as Mr. Ruzbahan kindly confirmed, it will be ready in 2021. This will definitely reflect on the cost of delivery of containers between Chabahar and Bandar Abbas to northern port of Iran, because for the time being, the only service we're having there is the road haulage service. And this road haulage service for 20 TEU or containers cost around $850 to $900 per container. Having a railroad service, we expect at least halving this amount. And with the tariffs that both Mr. Korde and Mr. Ruzbahan confirmed kindly, we can expect further reduction from railroad service, which makes this road significantly attractive, taking into account that there's just around 1.5 to 2 days of transit period between Chabahar and between Bandar Abbas to Anzali. With Anzali facilities, we were visiting last year. We were surprised with the pace of development, and we're sure that Anzali can handle any amount of containers can be delivered from Chabahar or from Bandar Abbas. But I'm quite sure that we have to concentrate it more, as Mr. Ruzbahan invited us to think about creating a special container yard, again of around 11 hectare zone, where everything that connects to container shipment, container handling will be offered over there. The main problem that we can see the absence of the shipping line in the Caspian Sea, which is to be established. We're starting our pilot project with help of Keystone Operation Company and with ARC, who will be provided a couple of vessels over there to start our test shipping line between Anzali, Amirabad, and Astrakhan. Quite a reliable, specialized container vessels will be introduced. One of them are already working between Hanzali and between Aktau, delivering cargo from between these countries, and being a main supply chain in delivery cargo from China to Iran. And we hope that somewhere in September, October, the first shipping line, the first sailing will be provided by the shipping line. As soon as we have that, we'll have to think about introduction, proper installation in Astrakhan to accept the influx of export and import container deliveries. For that also we need in Astrakhan a specialized container yard, which has already been introduced by our friends, our colleagues from HPC. They told that there is a special container yard that is under the project, but we already got the jetties, for which we can hope that in 2021 or 2022, the least we will be able to accept vessels with the containers. This already been done. Taking into account suggestions that provided with Mr. Shindo, of course, we are thinking about Astrakhan as one of the main hubs that is geographically located just in the middle of the corridor, where we will be able to further distribute the cargo, grouping them, consolidating them, and redistributing them further to in Russia or Western Europe or Northern Europe. These are mainly the problems that we have to start dealing with. I'm not talking about the software problems that we have to also dealing with documentation, with coordination, with the harmonization of relationship between the countries. And for that, Mr. Kordi's suggestion about considering of association of free economic zone, I think the time is ripe to start thinking about this in order to support the whole corridor. I think that's pretty well much for today. The main point is we have to start introducing the container culture. For that, another point is to start offering a different range of containers for any kind of cargo, including bulk containers. As soon as the more cargo we will be containerized, the better. We will be having, in this case, proper, steady cargo flow in both import and export. Thank you very much for your opinion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aliyev. It's a very important idea about рабочая группа.
About a working group.
Yes. И мы слышим во всех выступлениях, что нужна координация.
So we've heard a number of times from the previous speeches that we need to ensure the coordination.
Мы абсолютно поддерживаем это.
And we are absolutely in support of this idea.
И я думаю, через некоторое время наша рабочая группа будет более структурирована.
And hopefully, very soon, shortly, our working group will be more structured.
Будет, может быть, изменить свою форму.
And may be modified a little bit.
Но самое главное, она будет тем самым инструментом, который поможет нам запустить грузы.
Ultimately, it will be a tool which will enable us to launch the cargo services.
И я еще раз добавлю и попрошу всех коллег, вот как раз все проблемы, которые у нас есть на каждом участке нашего коридора, давайте мы их опишем.
And I would like that all the participants identify problems on the specific routes along this corridor, so that we could jointly address those problems.
Как только мы поймем все проблемы, мы поймем, как их решать.
As soon as we identify all of the problems that we have, so we will get a better understanding of how we can, solve them and address them.
Следующее. Есть вопросы к господину Алиеву?
So, does anyone has any questions for Mr. Aliyev?
Спасибо. Следующий выступающий господин Mirco Nowak, руководитель представительства Национальной ассоциации логистов Германии БВЛ в России.
So the next speaker is.
Yeah, thank you, dear Minister Afanasiev, dear Sergey Milushkin, dear colleagues, dear members of the working group. Also, you see a picture with an Indian motif behind me. I greet you from my beautiful hometown, Hamburg, here. Beside my 30 years business with my Lunar Group in and with Russia. Since 2011, I'm the head of the BVL chapter Russia, the Federal Association of German Logistics. And I'm very happy to be a member of the working group for the refreshment of the International North-South Transport Corridor. I remember our constituent meeting last year in September in St. Petersburg, where we had the great opportunity to join the reception from Hamburg port in the evening in St. Petersburg with, I think, over 300 participants. That shows the huge interest of our Hamburg port and Hamburg with Russia, with St. Petersburg, because that's our partner city. Some words about the BVL. Founded in 1978, we have more than 11,000 members here in Germany from industry, commerce, services and science. And the main goal, more than 60% of our members are manufacturing and industrial companies that require logistical solutions in the ongoing processes. So many potential users for the INSTC and the Caspian ports. Our mission, of course, is to promote logistics, but first of all, I think it's a great networking platform. We have 11 BVL chapters and 18 representatives outside Germany all over the world. And the BVL chapter that's on my side, it is a vital platform for the connection between Russian logistics and many platform for the many German companies in Russia. By the way, 5,000 German companies registered and working in Russia. We want not only to communicate, we want to work together with our colleagues in logistics and supply chain. And for this, we organize regular events. One of this, please note and mind it, on the 26th of August in 2 months, if Corona gave us the possibility, we are organizing together with Hamburg Port, with the Ministry of Economic of Mecklenburg and with Port Rostock, of course, the German-Russian Logistics Forum with over 200 participants the last year. That's during the Trans-Russia in Moscow. So also a very good opportunity, and we already have a suggestion to organize there the next working group in the site with Sergey. We discussed it already. So the revitalization of the INSTC is a very interesting project for us, for the BVL, for our members. Many of our members are constantly looking for new routes. The need to optimize time and costs is especially important in such time of Corona, economic crisis. North to south to India, 17 days instead of 35 days. Of course, it sounds very good. And hopefully something will change soon in the sanctions policy against Iran so that we can work. And now it's still a problem, of course, for many German companies to use this corridor, especially when they have additional business in the United States. We see today and in future particular interest in German companies and freight forwarders in the hub function of the Caspian Sea. So goods can be transported multimodally to the Caspian Sea ports via the gateways of St. Petersburg and Bronca and the ports of Hamburg and Rostock as an extension of the INSTC, as we mentioned it, can play an outstanding role, not only in the direction from Germany to Russia, but also in the other way, the distribution of goods from Russia and the Caspian region in the European Union. You know, the Russian Export Center, it's very engaged here to market Russian products and when I see the INSTC, the Volga region, with 60 million of inhabitants and the huge industrial work there. So I think it's a very good possibility to work in this. So I'm very happy that our two ports, Hamburg and Rostock, are involved in our working group, and the port Caspi, the new port of Caspi, which you heard from Frank Busse from HPC, where I was also in February, have their look, and it's fantastic. It's a great and huge project. So I think it will become an excellent interface to the markets of neighboring countries and Central Asia, where the German production goes through. So, for example, our Euler Hermes credit agency from the state, they credit now very many firms and exports to Uzbekistan, to Kazakhstan, to the Central Asia. So I think it's a very good market, and therefore the hub in the Astrakhan region with the special economic zone and with the port makes sense, and it will be a great possibility for German firms. So once more, I welcome the initiative of the working group. Better integration of the Caspian region into the international corridors is only possible when we're working together on this. And I want to also point the connection to the new Silk Road. This can be a special challenge for the INSTC and for the Caspian region. Transport volume between China and the European Union via rail connections, of course, are growing very dynamically. So the government are creating new routes like the INSTC 20 years ago. The stimulus must come from people and companies who set goals and implement them sustainably. We from BVL are ready to take an active part in this, and I'm very hopefully for the next months and for our future working together. Thank you very much.
Actually, we divide it in two stages. The first stage is trail liner shipments. For this stage, we expect the first voyage in September 2020, I mean this year. And basically, we defined our route ex-Astrakhan to Caspian port at Iran. Nevertheless, we still have an option to call any port en route on demand. I mean, varying from Astara to Aktau. We're gonna have a small vessel on this route, as Mr. Aliev mentioned before. It is called a Caspian Express type vessel. She can carry about 130 20-feet equivalent units per shipment, but she's pretty fast. She can cover the distance through the Caspian Sea of up to 4 days. That is the maximum transit time for her, despite of 7 climatic zones, which should be covered, as you know that. By the way, as also Mr. Aliev has already mentioned, the same vessel, the same type of the vessel is already being employed by us, and a line of service between Aktau and Caspian Seaport had been established. With the capacity described above, mentioned above, we foresee the monthly turnover about 250 20-feet equivalent containers northbound and the same quantity southbound. That is the capacity of the line, and what makes us feasible to move 3,000 units per year. Along with the technical resources like ships, we have an issue with a human factor which affects the whole capacity. Taking into account the specific of paperwork of all countries involved into the gateway, we can see that an extensive collaboration with all initial users of that line should be done. Shippers, stevedoring companies, consignees, agents, all of them. The main goal for that collaboration should be unification for all documents required for shipment and decrease their quantity to minimal. That is what our colleagues also mentioned from Freight Forwarding Association of India. One document, one waybill to be used. Just For instance, we are trying to develop, to deploy an IT platform right now for the existing service from Kazakhstan to Iran, to make a trial booking online and make a trial issuing bill of lading also online. I hope it will be completed in a month, and we can also involve this experience into emerging line between Astrakhan and Iran. Also, what should I mention, that taking into account transport gateway geographical routing, the time difference between initial shipper and final consignee could be sufficient. And for us, it will be extremely important to cut down documents verification level to minimum, since it hardly influences support operation and the whole throughput capacity of the line. We estimate completion of the first stage by the fall of 2021, and when they seize this small coaster, and we're going to launch a new vessel which is being built at the Astrakhan shipyard with a capacity twice more, 280 20-feet equivalent containers. By the way, also the completion of the trial service is toughly linked to the coming into operation a new port, which Mr. Milushkin had mentioned in the beginning of our meeting. This port, the key line number 8 and 9, being under construction at the port of Ola. And basically that is all that we have done by this time, and I'm passing my word to Mr. Alexander, who will carry on with our shipping strategy for the nearest future. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Pavel. Dear ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. So it's a short history. For the last 10 years, our company has been actively participating in the constructions of a new fleet on the LOTUS shipyard in Astrakhan region. To date, 8 RoRo type barges have been built which we use for transportation of large size and heavy cargo from European ports, from Black and Baltic Sea, mostly to Caspian Sea, which is going mostly gas and oil equipment. In 2019, our company signed a contract for constructions new river sea-going vessels, which is RSD 49 type, which we also want to use for transportation general, bulk cargo, containers, and so on. The weight of these vessels will be approximately 7,000 tons. We expect delivery of this vessel beginning of April 2029 in Port Astrakhan on LOTUS shipyard. Lately, it's in June 2020, our companies entered into a preliminary agreement with one lease company regarding constructions of 3 new units of vessels, which will be also river sea vessels, but a little bit another project. It will be RSD 59. The weight of these vessels will be approximately 8,000 tons. Provisionally, we start of constructions of those 3 vessels under the United Shipbuilding Corporation program, and it's planning for beginning of 2029. With delivery date in the mid of 2022. Whose by the strategic route for those vessels is more the port of Astrakhan to the northern port of Iran or vice versa. But there is any cargo base in the east interest of north-south corridor. Those vessels can be also make voyages via Russian inner waterways to European countries and also to the back. And at the end of my short presentation, I would like to say what the above mentioned program on fleet building and renew is not limited only. Yes, we are looking here for cooperation, and we have a plan for possible organizing a ferry line on Caspian Sea, to do some dredging works which will help for shipment, mostly for Volga-Caspian channel, and also to do some other activities that will be very good for this our program and for North-South corridor. Thanks to all.
Thank you very much. Any questions, maybe? Thank you. И последний или завершающий выступающий на сегодняшний день у нас господин Шаров.
So the last and closing speaker for today's meeting is Mr. Sharov,
генеральный директор группы компании Рус-Иран Экспо.
General Director of a group of companies, Rus-Iran Expo.
Please.
Да, добрый день всем присутствующим. Там слышно, да, меня?
Слышно, громче просто. Нет, ну...
Слышно хорошо.
Хорошо.
Сейчас в настоящее время мы перевозим примерно 100 тонн-контейнеров в месяц химических грузов в Иран из Ирана.
So currently, we're operating 110 containers from откуда?
Из России в Иран.
From Russia to Iran and from Iran to Russia.
Да, в настоящее время планировали запустить еще 4-5 проектов на 200-300 тонн контейнеров.
So we are about to launch 4 or 5 projects involving 200 to 300 tank containers.
Да, но из-за эпидемии поездка в Иран сейчас затруднена, и старт этих проектов будет не раньше начала осени.
So these projects and their commissioning has been delayed due to COVID restrictions, which actually hamper us from traveling to Iran in order to launch the project. So that's why the launching has been postponed until the start of fall this year.
Как базовый порт используем в Иране порт Амирабад.
So Amirabad is our base port, which we use in Iran.
Так как там подходит железная дорога прямо к причалу порта.
As all the rail lines are available, at this facility.
В Астрахани используем порт Оля.
So we use Ola port in Astrakhan,
который позволяет перегружать контейнеры до 40 тонн весом брута.
Which allows us to handle the containers up to 40 tons gross weight.
И сейчас рассматриваем возможность перехода на другие порты, порт ВТС, порт Армада.
So we're currently exploring the possibility of shifting to some other ports, VTS ports and Armada ports.
Также нам интересно будет рассмотреть перевозку этих контейнеров в Волгоград и Тольятти.
And we're also interested in the possibility of transporting those containers to Volgograd and Tольятти.
В этих портах есть лицензия на опасные грузы.
So these ports are licensed to work with hazardous materials.
Да, и ищем сейчас корабли с допуском на перевозки опасных грузов.
So currently we're searching for vessels which would be eligible and are licensed to carry hazardous cargoes.
Всего идет из Ирана примерно 6-8 тысяч тонн грузов в месяц.
So our monthly traffic from Iran is around 6,000 to 8,000 per month.
Это цемент, соль.
So which is mostly consists of cement, salt, soda,
болид и другие грузы.
barite and other cargoes.
Стоимость перевозки идет в трюме судна.
Внутри судна. Болт.
So these cargoes are carried in the bulk of the vessel.
Ставка перевозки очень небольшая, $10-20 в тонну.
And the transportation rate is not that high. Is сколько 10?
10-20.
10 and 20 from 10 to 20 dollars per ton.
Надо добавить, что ставка перевозки контейнеров из Астрахани в Иран и обратно.
So the container rate from Astrakhan to Iran and from Iran to Astrakhan.
За последние 2 года из-за конкуренции снизилась в 2-3 раза.
So we've experienced a twofold, threefold decline of this transportation rate within the last couple of years.
Есть ряд предложений по расширению перевозки грузов.
So we have several offers on how to grow, our cargo volume.
В контейнерах, но для этого требуется расширить узкие места в Астрахани.
But in order to do so, we have to address the bottlenecks that we currently have in Astrakhan port.
Это таможенная лаборатория по химии.
So these are the customs lab, chemistry lab.
Ветеринарные станции для приемки ветеринарных грузов.
So the PAT station for handling the cargoes related to animal transportation.
А также решение по упрощенному таможенному коридору.
And also, we are awaiting decisions on the simplifying the customs corridor.
Для привлечения грузов, которые сейчас идут через Астару и по другим направлениям.
In order to attract cargoes currently shipped to Astara and other directions.
Okay. Thank you very much. Уважаемые коллеги,
So, dear colleagues,
если есть какие-то еще предложения, вопросы, небольшие тезисы, можно сказать.
If you have any comments or proposals, please feel free to share them with us.
Нету. Благодарю всех участников рабочей группы за уделенное время и активное участие в заседании.
I thank all the participants of the working group for their time and active participation in the meeting.
Мы продуктивно поработали, все основные тезисы и решения будут зафиксированы в стенограмме и протоколе, который мы подготовим.
We have worked productively. All the main points and decisions will be recorded in the transcript and protocol that we will prepare.
Хочу еще раз обратить особое внимание на то, что наша главная задача запустить коридор.
Once again, I would like to draw special attention to the fact that our main task is to launch the North-South corridor.
И от того, как начнет работать тестовая линия, будет во многом зависеть успех предприятия.
And the success of the enterprise will greatly depend on how the test line starts to work.
Прошу включиться в эту работу и представить предложение по
Please join this work and submit your suggestions on
потенциальной грузовой базе для тестовой контейнерной линии,
potential cargo base for a test container line,
возможности организации приема контейнеров на территории ваших портов и временных площадок для хранения,
organization of containers processing on the territory of your ports and temporary storage areas,
снятию существующих барьеров и другие вопросы, которые мы сегодня обсуждали.
removal of existing administrative barriers and other questions that we touched upon during today's meeting.
В заключение рад сообщить, что к нашей международной рабочей группе присоединились новые участники.
In conclusion, I am pleased to announce that new participants have joined our international working group.
Это акционерное общество Туркмен Milli Logistic.
So these are joint stock company Turkmen Milli Logistic,
В лице Бегенча Мамедова.
represented by Begench Mamedov.
Порт Росток в лице управляющего директора генерала Татеша.
Port Rostov, represented by its managing director Gernot Tesh.
И свободная торгово-промышленная зона Чебахар в лице председателя Совета директоров, генерального директора Абдулрахима Карди.
And Chebahar Free Trade and Industry Zone is represented by the chairman of the board of directors and its general director, Mr. Abdulrahim Kordi.
Кто еще не подписал соглашение, прошу сделать сейчас, и наши специалисты после заседания свяжутся с вами по поводу обмена оригиналами документов.
Whoever has not signed the agreement, please do so now, and our specialist will contact you after the meeting regarding the exchange of original documents.
И я предлагаю еще предоставить завершающее слово господину Савченко, генеральному директору ПЛК «Каспий».
And in the closing remarks, I would like for Mr. Savchenko, who is the general director of the PLC Caspy, to share some thoughts to conclude the meeting.
Добрый день.
Good afternoon.
Желаю всем здоровья, удачи, добра.
So wishing you all the good health and all the luck and other well wishes.
Буду краток.
So I will be brief.
Россия обречена иметь современный порт на Каспии.
So Russia is destined to have an state-of-the-art port facility on the Caspian Sea.
Будет это при помощи нашей группы международной или позже.
So be it with the participation of our working group or sometime afterwards.
Но порт должен быть, и он будет.
But this port facility is just destined to be there, and it will be there.
Потому что есть поручение президента.
Because there is an instruction which the Russian president has given us.
Поэтому хочется пожелать нашей группе и удачи.
So therefore, I would like to wish good luck to our working group.
Для того, чтобы ускорить время создания и транспортного коридора, и строительства порта.
In order to expedite the process of establishing the transport corridor and construction of the port facility.
Для того, чтобы мы все воспользовались преимуществами, связанными.
So that we could all be able to use all of the benefits.
С экономиками всех стран, представленными здесь.
Related to the economies and of all the parties, of all the countries whose participants have joined this meeting today.
И вместе мы сделаем развитие не только этого проекта.
And by our joint efforts, we will ensure the development.
Но и улучшение развития наших стран.
Not only for this project, but also the development of trade and relationships between our.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much.
Еще раз благодарю всех участников.
Thank you once again.
Материалы в ближайшее время отправим.
So we will circulate all of the materials and documents.
Ну и в добрый путь и начинаем двигать грузы. Спасибо.
So good luck. We're ready to go ahead.
Bye bye.
Спасибо.
Thank you. Bye.